Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is your boy Jaylen bringing us a brand new video, and in today's video, guys, we are going to be looking at the New England Patriots 2024 NFL Draft, which they absolutely killed. They weaponized the offense. They got their franchise hopeful quarterback. They got him some receiving weapons. They upgraded the offensive line. They got some help in the secondary, and they also had a very interesting day 3 quarterback pick. We're going to talk about all that and more in today's video. I'm going to be talking about the draft grades I gave out, why it was such a good draft, and what they could have potentially done better. I hope you guys enjoy it. Without further ado, though, let's just get to the video. With pick 1 of the draft for the Patriots, pick number 3, they chose quarterback Drake Maye from North Carolina. Seemed like the obvious choice there. There was talks trading down with the Vikings or the Giants. They actually were offered a trade down with both the Vikings and the Giants. Neither offer was serious. They stayed put. Even if it was a serious offer, a lot of picks, maybe a player, I don't think they would have chosen it. I think as long as Drake Maye was there coming into the draft, their mindset was if he's there at 3, it doesn't matter what we're offered, we're going to take him. They really liked him. A lot of workouts, a lot of meetings with him coming into the draft. And then towards the draft, it was a very consensus overall feeling that Drake Maye would be there at 3 and that he would be gone after 3 and that the Patriots would take him. I'm glad. I really like Drake Maye. Seems like he has great energy, great vibes. Seeing him after the draft with all the owners, or the Patriots owners and the Patriots leadership at the stadium the next day, just seems like a very cool guy, very great guy to have in the locker room, and a good quarterback to build around and develop. He is going to be, like I said, a bit of a developmental quarterback, a bit of a project. He has all the tools in the world. He's very big, very physical, Josh Allen type of quarterback. But you have to develop a quarterback like that. It's not really a plug-and-play type of quarterback, or in most cases, it's not at least. So it does seem like Jacoby Brissett will be the Week 1 starter, depending on how they feel over the offseason. And I think their mindset going into the season is going to be, we're not competing for a Super Bowl right away. We're not competing for the AFC East right away. There's no reason to rush or speed up or put Drake Maye into a situation where we don't feel like he's ready, which I think is the good thing. I think that's how it should be taken about when you're dealing with a rookie quarterback who's going to need some development time and some kind of mentorship time before he's ready and kind of fully unlocked his full talents yet. So I think it's the right approach. Again, he could see the field Week 1. It's really just going to be a judgment feeling on when they feel he is ready to go in and when they feel like he is going to be able to play at a high level. Could be Week 1. It could be the whole season he sits and just say, you know what, let's just give him a season to sit and learn and develop. Jacoby Brissett's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback to learn behind and develop from. He's a very, I wouldn't say he's a starter you want for your franchise, but he's good enough to at least keep them somewhat competitive. At the very least, he's a very high-end quarterback too, like a backup quarterback. So I think he's a good quarterback to learn behind. He has ties with the Patriots. He was, quarterback there a while ago. So I like it. Like I said, he could be the starter Week 1. It could be 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in. It could be a year later. I don't really know. We don't know yet. It's going to be kind of a more off-season thing, and then we'll learn probably towards after preseason. But whatever it is, I like it. I think they know what they're doing. I think they understand, like I said, that they don't need to rush it. They're not going to be competing right away, so let's just develop him and mentor him as best we can, and then when they feel he's ready, put him in and see what he can do. So I like it. I would give it an A. I think, obviously Caleb Williams was the quarterback 1 of the draft, but quarterback 2 was Drake Maye. And I said from the beginning, whoever gets him, as long as they can develop him and he can kind of learn and they can unlock his full potential, I think he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Patriots got him. It's their job now to develop him and mentor him. Hopefully they can do that. If they can, he's their franchise quarterback without a doubt. Moving on to round 2, pick 37, following a 3-pick down trade, the Patriots selected their wide receiver. They needed Jaylen Polk. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of playmakers for the deep threat last year. They addressed that by getting Jaylen Polk. Polk has great technique, great positioning, doesn't have great breakaway speed, but he's a great catcher and almost always comes down with deep throws. Not the most flashy, but he's very reliable and he excels at what Drake Maye does well. Seem like they're going to go very good together. I like it. Get a good young receiver for your young quarterback to develop with. Polk, great. Like I said, he's a great deep threat. Doesn't have the best speed, but he's a great catcher. You throw up a 50-50 jump ball to him, 9 out of 10 times he's going to come down with it. So I like the pick. Get a good safe option there for your quarterback who has a very high ceiling. And I think with an offensive coordinator like Alex Van Pelt, who is, he kind of almost is like an Amari Cooper type of player. I saw him get compared to him after they picked him. So I think Van Pelt has experience with guys like Polk. I think he's going to do great things with Alex Van Pelt and Drake Maye. I think they're going to be a very good quarterback receiver duo. I like the pick. They were not done at the receiving position at all, though. 2 more receiving picks still to come in the draft. Jaylen Polk, though, was a great start. They probably could have traded down again if they wanted to and got him. Polk was projected to go in like the late 2nd round to the early 3rd. But I like to, if you like a player, you see him, and you don't know for sure how much longer he's going to be there, you might as well just go ahead and take him. I wasn't mad at all. I really like the pick. And honestly, as long as there was a receiver or a tight end that the Patriots saw and they chose him, I wouldn't be mad where they got him. If you feel like, I mean, obviously they desperately needed receivers. They needed deep threat receivers. If you see one available that you like, just take him. Don't risk on him getting chosen early by another team. I like the Jaylen Polk pick. I didn't really see anyone complaining about it either. I mean, Adonai Mitchell was on the board. He fell quite a ways due to character concerns. So I was not mad at all with the Jaylen Polk pick. I liked it, especially since they were able to trade down and get an earlier 4th round pick. I thought it was a good pick, and I'm very excited to see him and Drake Maye on the field together. Up next, round 3, pick 68. The Patriots addressed their tackle need in getting right tackle Kaden Wallace. Now, this was a very interesting pick. Right tackle is not a need. Michael Nweno there, very solid right tackle. They brought him back this offseason. They are going to try to put Kaden Wallace at left tackle, out of Penn State, age 24, so he's a bit of an older prospect. He's very athletic, though. Scored a 9.10 RAS, mainly due to great vertical and broad jumps. Now, a lot of the scouting reports, pretty much everyone believes he can be a day one starter, which is good, but that's not the issue. The issue is how well can he adjust to left tackle, and that's where Drake Maye said he's going to, Jerod Mayo said he's going to go. That's where he's listed on the depth chart of the Patriots as the starting left tackle. They needed a left tackle badly. That was their biggest need really last year, and I was glad they addressed it early because doesn't matter who you have at quarterback and who you get at receiver, you need a tackle. You need someone to protect your blind side. So I liked the pick. I like that they addressed a tackle. Some would say it's a reach. If you see a guy that you like, go out and get him. Same thing with Jaylen Polk. Some could say it was a round early of a reach, but if they like him and they're scared another team's going to get him earlier, then go out and get him. This is what I say with this too. I don't hate it. They really liked him. They saw the athleticism. They saw the day one starting potential, so they went out and got him. I don't mind that at all. I really like the Kaden Wallace pick. It's just, can he switch to left tackle? He's very athletic. Like I said, 9.10 RAS. He has versatility to play guard as well. But the question is, how well can he adjust to left tackle? If he can adjust to left tackle, then it's going to be great. And it's not going to be something where you look back and say, why did we do that? But if he can't adjust to left tackle, it's going to be one of those picks where it's like, yeah, that probably was a reach. Now he's just going to be a depth tackle or, kind of versatile depth behind guard or tackle. If he can adjust, though, and clearly they believe he can adjust because they wouldn't have picked him in round 3. He probably... I think some teams had like around 5 to 6. I mean, it was a pretty early pick for him. So clearly they think he can adjust. Clearly they think, and there was a few good left tackles available on the board still too. Javon Foster out of Missouri, who I really liked. I thought they were going to go with there at tackle. So clearly they do believe he can adjust to left tackle and he can be their starting left tackle. Day one starting potential, which is nice. But like I said, how well can he adjust to left tackle is going to be the question. If he can, then that's great. If not, probably next year you're going to have to look at it again. They did get another guard, though, which we'll talk about in a minute to help versify this offensive line. 2 things with both of the offensive line picks we'll talk about, like I said, in a minute. Very athletic and both very versatile to play tackle, guard, wherever. So it's going to be interesting to see how this offensive line shapes up. Obviously, they're going to start him at tackle, left tackle, see how he shapes out there. If he doesn't, I don't really know what's going to happen. Probably just a depth piece. But if he can transition from right tackle to left tackle, then it's going to be a great pick. And hopefully he can protect Drake Maye very well. So, I mean, right now, I wouldn't give it a great grade just because, like I said, it was a bit of a reach probably. But I still like the pick because he's very athletic. They liked him. They didn't hesitate. They went out and got him. It's up to them now to transition him from right tackle to left tackle and see how he does. So I like the pick. It's just going to come down to if he can switch to left tackle and be good. Some tackles have a great time adjusting from one side to the other. Some don't. I think the athleticism is probably why they chose him at right tackle, just because they do know he is athletic. And typically when you're an athletic tackle, it's easier to adjust. So hopefully he does make a good and smooth transition to left tackle. But I like the pick. I like that they went out and got a tackle. I like that they're not ignoring the offensive line and that they do know it's a big need. So I do like that they went out and they're trying to protect Drake Maye as much as possible. Moving on to round 4, pick 103, the Patriots selected guard Layden Robinson from Texas A&M. This one is interesting to me. There was still a lot of talent there on the board at receiver, defensive line, cornerback, a lot of other options they could have gone with. They went interior offensive line guard Layden Robinson. I don't hate this pick. If this was last year, I would have gotten mad. I would not have been a fan of this. I like this pick. Now, the interesting thing to me is he played primarily at right guard. He's very similar to Kaden Wallace, and there's 3 main traits they have. They are both very athletic, both versatile, and both are projected on scouting reports to both have the ability to be day one starters. Kaden Wallace is going to be a day one starter, it seems. Layden Robinson also has day one starting potential. Definitely needs to develop a little bit more, but if he does, a lot of people believe him to be a day one starter as well. The interesting thing is he played primarily right guard at Texas A&M, and on the Patriots, the right guard, the right side of the offensive line is pretty much already solidified ever since Michael Nwino kicked out to right tackle, who he's done great there. Like I said before, they brought him back. Very expensive contract. They really like Michael Nwino there at right tackle, as they should. And then Sidney Sal, who was kind of a hidden gem in last year's draft, seems to be a very good right guard, and he kind of has that spot solidified. So with that versatility, I think there's a possibility they try to move Layden Robinson to left guard. It seems like they may be concerned with Cole Strange. Cole Strange was actually pretty solid before his injury, season-ending injury last year. But I think there's probably some questions at how well he's going to bounce back from that injury. And it seems like Layden Robinson is going to be competing day one for that starting spot. I don't think with the talent on the board in round 4, you go guard just to be a backup. Last year they did a lot, but they definitely needed a lot more depth. This year you already have a lot of depth on the interior offensive line. So I don't think you're going to go guard at 103, especially with some of the receivers and cornerbacks and other talent available to you, unless you feel like he has day one starting potential on your offensive line. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be Sidney Sal. I think him and Michael Nwino are a great pair on the right side of the line. I think it's going to be Cole Strange who is going to be fighting for his job. I think Cole Strange is going to be the default to get the job, but I do think he's going to have to compete harder now with Layden Robinson there. Layden Robinson, like I said, very versatile and athletic, so they're not going to have a problem switching him over to left guard. And I would imagine it's going to be Cole Strange who he's going to be looking not to replace, but he's going to be kind of versatile. They'll move him wherever, but I think they're going to look to move him to left guard if Cole Strange does not come back as good as they want him to be from the injury. I like the pick. Like I said, it wasn't the most exciting pick, especially after tackle in the 3rd round, but they're doing everything they can to protect Drake Maye, which I like. As long as they're doing everything they can to protect him, I don't care who they choose. I like the pick. It gives you that versatility too. You can move him wherever. Even try him at tackle. He played at tackle some in Texas A&M, so just try him wherever. Very versatile, which I like. I like when you have an offensive line that's very versatile. You can move him around. Michael Nwino, obviously, we saw how great it was to have him be versatile, because then you brought in Sidney Sal, and you pretty much solidified the right side of the offensive line last year. So I like it. They're definitely bringing in a lot of options for the offensive line. Wasn't the most exciting pick, but anything to protect Drake Maye, I will support. So I like the pick, 103 guard Layden Robinson. 7 picks later, round 4, pick 110, the Patriots decided to double dip at receiver, going with one of the most exciting receivers in this year's draft class, in my opinion, Javon Baker. Baker had 5 catches for 50 yards or more last season. When the ball goes up, odds are he's coming down with it. He's a very good jump ball contested catch receiver. I think he's a perfect complement receiver for Jaylen Polk and Drake Maye. He's a deep ball specialist, making him another good receiver for Drake Maye to utilize his arm strength with, and another reliable receiver there for Drake Maye. I really like the pick. Javon Baker also is very explosive after the catch. Very, very good. Not a lot of concerns here with him. I really like the pick. I was actually very happy they got him at 110. I thought he was someone they could look at like pick 68 in round 3. I was kind of surprised he fell this far. I know a lot of people had him falling like the 4th round, 5th round, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he went in like mid to late day 2. So I was very glad they got him here at pick 110. I really like him. Like I said, he and Jaylen Polk are going to be 2 very good outside, reliable passing targets for Drake Maye. I'm excited to see them get to work with him, and I'm excited to see how they grow and develop as a wide receiver duo. Also, Demario Douglas in the slot. I think this is going to be a wide receiver trio that once they get to work is only going to improve and develop and get better. So I'm excited. I think Polk and Baker were the right receivers for Drake Maye. Get 2 deep threat outside receivers, very reliable. Also, KJ Osborne, who they brought in over free agency on a very cheap 1-year deal. I think he could be another good receiver on the outside. So I'm excited. I think the outside receivers are finally coming together, which is really the one thing they were lacking last year for the receiving core. I like it. Javon Baker and Jaylen Polk, 2 very good receivers here. And I'm very glad they double dipped. I liked Polk a lot, but I think if they could have gotten one more outside, good contested catch receiver, it would have really solidified the draft at the receiving position. They did that round 4. Javon Baker, good value there. So I'm very excited, and I'm excited to see Javon Baker and Jaylen Polk get to work with the Patriots. The Patriots did not have a round 5 pick. They traded it to the Chargers when they traded down in round 2. So 70 picks later, round 6, pick 180, they chose defensive back Marcellas Dial, their first defensive player of the draft out of South Carolina. Dial is an intriguing prospect. He has good speed and good athleticism. Interesting thing here, it is said that they think he could switch to a deep safety and just be a depth piece at outside cornerback, mainly because they already have good depth here at outside cornerback. Or not good depth necessary, but they don't have a need for an outside cornerback right now, a starting need for outside cornerback. You already have Christian Gonzalez and Jonathan Jones there at outside cornerback. You also have Alex Austin, who not a lot of people talk about, but he was very good, very underrated last year when he came in for that cornerback room that was very depleted by injuries last year. So I don't think there's a glaring need for a starting outside cornerback. You could use him at outside cornerback. You could use him as a rotational guy for outside cornerback, but I think with that versatility there, you could try him at deep safety, which I would be totally okay with. But I like this pick. I like getting versatility. I like getting depth, a potential starter on a lot of scouting reports, and then you also have that ability to try him at deep safety, which is a need for the Patriots. They do need a deep safety, so maybe he works out there, maybe you move him around, but I do like the pick. I do like adding depth to the secondary, because like I said, last year it was very depleted, a lot of injuries in the secondary. You're getting a lot of those guys back, which is why I think this is more of a depth pick on the outside, but if they try him at deep safety, he could be a starter for them. So I like to pick Marcellas Dial, 6 feet, good athlete, and I'm sure they will find a role for him eventually. Staying in the 6th round, pick 193. This is where things got a little weird for me. I wasn't a big fan of this one. Quarterback Joe Milton out of Tennessee. Milton has a cannon of an arm. In my opinion, he has the strongest arm in the whole draft class. I think a lot of people would agree on that. I mean, he can throw the ball 100 yards. He has an incredible arm, 6'5", 215 pounds. I mean, he is an athlete. He's a freak athlete, very strong arm. Other than that, though, he's not a good quarterback. Yes, he has a very strong arm, and you could probably put him on like a Hail Mary package where you need to chuck the ball 70 yards. I mean, other than that, there's not much he brings as a quarterback. No accuracy, very bad pocket presence, decision-making. I mean, he's not an NFL-level quarterback. Maybe you could develop him to like a quarterback 3, worst-case scenario kind of guy, but he definitely does not have starting potential. At least in my opinion, he has no starting potential. Clearly, the Patriots don't think so either. I mean, they drafted Drake Maye. And I don't know. I don't get exactly what they were doing with this pick. I mean, bench warming scenario where he's the backup quarterback. Jacoby Brissett's the backup quarterback, or Drake Maye, depending on how they do that. So, I mean, he'd be quarterback 3. I'm not a big fan of drafting a quarterback 3 in round 6 when you could do that in round 7 or just do it in undrafted free agents. Even if you want a backup quarterback, there were better backup quarterbacks available than Joe Milton. Not a fan. Now you have 5 quarterbacks on the roster, so maybe they just say they want to start over completely and get rid of Bailey Zappi and Nathan Rourke, which I wouldn't be mad about. But again, I don't like the idea that you're drafting a 3rd-string quarterback in the 6th round. And really, Joe Milton has, like I said, no starting potential in my opinion. I mean, he has a lot of things to work on and improve on if he ever wants to have a shot at the NFL, which, too, they drafted Drake Maye, so I don't know. I don't get it. There was talk that you could potentially try him at like tight end or fullback because he is a freak athlete, 6'5", 230 pounds or whatever. You could try him at like tight end or fullback and use him as like a Taysom Hill kind of Swiss Army knife player. But even that, I'm not a fan of it because there are better players available. You know, you could get a running back or a tight end rather than try to take a quarterback and switch him to a tight end or a fullback. So I wasn't a fan of it. I mean, maybe they use him, they just want someone who has a strong arm. But I mean, Drake Maye already has a strong arm. He had another, he probably has the 2nd strongest arm in this draft class behind Joe Milton. So I'm not exactly sure why they did it. And then the interesting thing too, and we'll talk about this too with pick 231 for the Patriots, Joe Milton said he's not going to transition to a tight end or a fullback or anything else. So if the Patriots drafted him with that in mind, that, hey, he's a freak athlete, maybe we can try him at like tight end or fullback, they drafted Jaheim Bell, which I thought was great, and we'll talk about that in a minute, with their final pick of the draft. So I kind of think if they drafted him to be like a Swiss Army knife kind of player, Joe Milton comes out and says that's never going to happen. Maybe they say, all right, well, we need to draft a tight end then because clearly it's not going to work out with Joe Milton. Maybe that's what happened. But again, like I said, I would rather than just spend a draft pick elsewhere other than a quarterback who you want to try to transition to a tight end position. It seems most likely they just got him for depth and because he has a cannon of an arm. But I would rather, there's a lot of other quarterbacks I would have preferred over Joe Milton if you're looking for just a pure backup. And the arm is nice, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's going to be super fun to watch. But Drake Maye already has a very strong arm as well, too. So it's not like you need someone who, if it's halftime or you need a Hail Mary at some point where you need to bring in Joe Milton. I mean, Drake Maye has a very strong arm as well. So, I mean, it's a 6th-round pick. Odds are he's not going to see the field a lot. It's not that big of a deal, but, it's something. It's a pick. I mean, there was still talent out there that I would have preferred over Joe Milton. Who knows, though? We'll see what they want to do with him. We'll see how they want to use him. If they do want to try to switch him up and, have him play another position, or if they just use him as a depth piece at quarterback, I don't know. We'll see. I wasn't a fan of this. This was really the only pick of the draft where I did not like it. Everything else, I actually liked pretty much every other pick except for this one. And I mean, we'll see. Maybe he does. Maybe he can be a solid backup of the future. Maybe he proves me wrong. But until then, I'm not a fan of this one. Joe Milton, really the only pick so far that I was not a fan of in the draft. With the Patriots' final pick in the draft, this is actually my favorite pick in the whole draft. Round 7, pick 231, tight end Jaheim Bell out of Florida State. The value on this pick is insane, and this is why it's my favorite pick in the draft. I actually had Jaheim Bell to the Patriots in a couple of the mock drafts I did. He was someone who I wanted them to target. And in the mock drafts I did, I had him going in like the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round at the latest to the Patriots. I did not think he was going to fall to the 7th round. I know on some boards, scouts had him in like the 5th or 6th round, but I did not think anyone would see him falling to the 7th round. He's only 6'2", which in terms of a tight end size is not that big, which I think is probably why he fell, just because he's not that big of a tight end. But he is very athletic, and I know on a lot of scouting reports he's described as a do-it-all tight end. Very good after the catch. He can even line up in the backfield and take snaps. Not as a running back, but I know Florida State did a lot of trick plays where he'd take it on a reverse or an end around. So you can do a lot of things with him. Put him in a lot of different schemes. Put him in a lot of different play calls. He's a very good tight end. Very good after the catch, like I said. I think Alex Van Pelt is going to do a great job with Jaheim Bell. Alex Van Pelt does a good job exploiting matchups on defenses to get tight ends open and get them the ball. So I think if Jaheim Bell can translate his athleticism and his skills from college to the NFL, he's going to be someone that Alex Van Pelt really likes. And I'm very excited because, like I said, Jaheim Bell was someone who I had to the Patriots, but in like rounds 4 or 5 primarily. So to get him in round 7, I think is very good value. And like I said, I like it too, because Hunter Henry, the tight end 1, very good receiving option there. But now you get Jaheim Bell, who is very good after the catch, and you get a tight end 2 to kind of develop behind Hunter Henry in the receiving game. You have Austin Hooper, who is going to be more of like your run-blocking tight end, which will be a big role too in Alex Van Pelt's offense. But I like Jaheim Bell getting another good receiving tight end there. And this, like I said, was my favorite pick just because of the value here. I really like Jaheim Bell. If you watch his highlights, he's very fun to watch, especially for a tight end with that athleticism that he has. So I'm excited to watch him, Drake Maye, and the rest of these guys get to work. And I think Alex Van Pelt is going to do very good things with Drake Maye. So my favorite pick here, Jaheim Bell. I liked all the picks for the most part. Really, the one pick I said I did not like was the Joe Milton one. Other than that, I liked all the picks. This one was probably my favorite, but I liked them all, like I said. So I'm very excited to see Jaheim Bell get to work with Alex Van Pelt in this offense. So that wraps up the 2024 New England Patriots draft. I thought it was very good. Drake Maye, you got your franchise quarterback of the future. Jaylen Polk and Javon Baker, you got 2 very good outside receivers, very aggressive, reliable targets to help grow and develop with Drake Maye. Kaden Wallace and Layden Robinson, you solidified the offensive line. 2 very good athletes, versatile. You can kind of mix around that offensive line and figure out what is best for it. Jaheim Bell, like I said, my favorite pick of the draft. Another receiving option there for Drake Maye at tight end. Joe Milton, we'll see. Could prove me wrong. I mean, he's a very good athlete, so if they do transition him to something else, he could work out there as a Taysom Hill, Swiss Army knife kind of player. And then Marcellas Dial at cornerback / safety. Good depth piece / potential starter role there for the secondary, Marcellas Dial. I thought it was a very good draft. I thought they answered a lot of the pieces of the puzzle. Honestly, the offense, I'd say, is pretty much good to go now. Is it great? We'll see. It's a very young offense, a lot of young guys on there. So I think what we're going to see now is we're pretty much done with offense. I think they've already added a lot of guys this offseason through free agency. Now the draft, I think they're going to see what they have here in Jaylen Polk, Javon Baker, see how Demario Douglas does in year 2, see how Kendrick Bourne does after his injury, see how KJ Osborne does in his 1-year prove-it deal. And then I think they will address the wide receiver position next year. Do we need to go out and make a splash trade? Do we need to get someone in free agency? Or do we have a good enough receiver room right now? Are Jaylen Polk and Javon Baker very good? How's Demario Douglas? So I think right now with the receiving core, they're done. They're going to wait till next year, work with what they have, because they have a lot right now. They do have a very crowded receiver room, and I would not be surprised if we saw 2 or 3 guys get cut before the season started. Juju Smith-Schuster, Jalen Reagor, potentially on the chopping block there, Kayshon Boutte. So I think for now the receiving core is done. I think they're going to evaluate what they have. A lot of young talent on the receiving core. And then, like I said, next year, after this season, they will decide, do they need to make a splash? Do they need to add depth? Quarterback, hopefully we know next year. Drake Maye is the future. Hopefully we know by next year that we have our franchise hopeful quarterback. Not sure if he's going to start right away. Like I said, it could be out the whole year. He could just sit. But when you have the number 3 overall pick, who's your quarterback, I mean, you don't really want him to sit too long. So I would be surprised if Drake Maye didn't start within the first quarter of the week or of the season. But we'll see. Like I said, though, I love that pick. Very excited to see him. The offensive line, I think, is going to be good. I think it's going to be solid. With the versatility, there's a lot of different things you can do so you can maximize the potential. Secondary, it's going to be good. The defense is going to be good. We already know it's going to be good. I'm very excited for that. And yeah, I think it was a good draft. I think it was much better than last year's. They answered really all the offensive problems, got some help in the secondary. I'm very excited. I think they did a great job. Elliott Wolf, Drake Maye, and all the Patriots coaches and staff and managers. Fantastic job. It was a very fun draft, too. Just the energy, knowing this year it's a new coaching staff, it's a new regime, knowing this is really a make or break year for the Patriots, getting your franchise quarterback, building around him. I thought they did a great job building around Drake Maye. Very exciting. And now really it's the offseason. It's kind of a dry point in the season where there's not much going on. OTAs and, offseason workouts and all that are starting. So hopefully we get some exciting news and we get some updates around the league, not just with the Patriots. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. If you guys want, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. I'm going to be reporting on league news, trades, free agent signings, all that good stuff. And then the Patriots as well, I'll be covering a good amount too. So make sure to like and subscribe if you guys don't want to miss out on any of that. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Jay Lay, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.